where it says record to computer. So
Okay, great.
I think it's starting right now. Yeah, it
Great.
is. It says recording at the top left-hand corner. So is this early for you? I mean, where do you live? What's the time difference?
Well, it's 2 p.m. for me, 2:02 p.m.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Nice. So this is afternoon for you, and this is
yeah.
morning for everyone. So I've got to admit everybody. So I'm admitting as I see them.
Great. So I guess we can start in like 8 minutes.
Yes. Yeah. So if you want to go do something or whatever for whatever, or just hang and chat. I actually was writing out some questions, but my students all have to ask you a question at the Q&A part. So yeah, I freaked out a little bit this morning because out of the flyer that I made, I don't know if you guys noticed on the flyer, it had the Zoom link, but it was broken down into two sections. And so our dean's secretary, Lisa Martin, who's going to join us, she might even be here already. She told me about it, and I'm like, oh, people are not going to know how to put those two together. But in your assignment, it did have the full link. So did you guys click on it from the assignment or from the flyer? The Zoom link.
From the assignment.
Okay, good.
Assignment, yeah.
Yes. Yay.
Assignment.
Okay, cool. Did you guys have a nice Easter? What'd you guys do? Did you guys do anything fun for Easter? Family,
Ate a
food?
lot of good food.
Nice. I actually had no plans. My son lives in Texas, so they're far away, and I just one of my good friends came over, stayed the night, hadn't seen her in a long time. So that was really nice. Super nice. Are you guys glad that I made this our class for today instead of instead of also making it for another day too, right? Because that would have been a lot. Everyone's just signing in. This is great. It's really good. I might have to I don't know if I'll be able to edit the video cutting out all of this extra portion or not, but we'll see. I'd rather
Including me accidentally turning off my computer.
I saw that and then it said to ask to admit you again and I'm like, "Oh, I thought he was already in." So,
I have a
uh-huh.
little timer, and
Oh, nice.
it's put on my laptop, and I was like, okay, let me move this timer so I can see it better, and then boop, I accidentally turned it off.
Where did you get that timer? That is really cool. I like
It's
it.
just it's just an iPhone video. You press
Oh,
play.
nice.
Yeah.
That's so
So
cool. And
yeah.
also, so since this goes to 12:35, if it ends sooner, it ends sooner. But just so you know, it doesn't have to go all the way to the very end. Okay.
Right.
So yeah. And everyone is still checking in. I'm still admitting. Yeah. Did you have a nice Easter, Reggie?
Great.
Nice. Okay, and still. I told everyone to show their faces and stuff because I don't think I told you this, or maybe I did. I do stand-up comedy, and one of the things with stand-up is when you're performing live in front of somebody, you want to see people. It's really difficult to perform or to talk to nobody. It's
Mhm.
just really hard. You need that energy and that facial expression and all of that. So I try to encourage them, but it is also being recorded and it will go on YouTube. So if you don't
Awesome.
want to be on YouTube, for anybody who doesn't want to be on YouTube, then you can just go dark if you
Mhm.
want to. So yeah, so we've got 3 more minutes. This is how I am in the classroom. I'm like, okay, we'll start in 3 more minutes. We'll start in 5 more minutes. We'll wait just a few more minutes. Okay. I keep looking up over here because I gotta admit everyone. See who's all here. I always feel like, see, I'm old. I'm 60 years old. And way back when I was a kid, there was Romper Room. And Romper Room was like this. They were all like boxes and squares, and you can see everybody. Almost like Hollywood Squares too.
Mhm.
And the teacher would say on TV, she would say, and I see Michael, and I see, she would just point out everybody's name that would pop up. And I feel like that's what this is. That's
Nice.
what Zoom is. It's like Romper Room or
Awesome.
Hollywood Squares or like the Brady Bunch. I mean, I grew up on TV, so
Me
all these
too.
TV references. Oh man.
I'll be right back, and we'll be ready to start in
Okay,
2 minutes.
okay, that sounds great. Thank you.
Sure.
Hey, you guys, we've got a couple more minutes and then we'll get started. Hopefully you have your questions ready. Let's see, is Skylar here? Did Skylar make it? Because I know we were gonna do a little, I don't, oh, I think I see you, Skylar. Hey, oh, there you are. So it's your first time. How's it going so far? Is it pretty simple?
It's kind of weird. I'm like on my iPad and
Oh,
it keeps like zooming in on things randomly. I don't know why.
oh, that's hysterical.
But
But I'm glad you got it. We were gonna do a little
yeah.
test Zoom, but that didn't happen. So, oh, let's see. If you don't wish to be on YouTube, do I have permission to turn? Yes, you do. So if you don't want to be on YouTube, because this is going to be on YouTube, once I'm done with the meeting and I'll upload it, and it'll take a while. So it'll probably be like later today. But yeah, if you don't want to be on YouTube, you have permission to turn off your camera. I think that was Riley who asked that question. So very good. I will say yes. Okay, so far we've got 18, but I've got two classes. There should be close to 60 students. And right now we're at 19, no, 18. Also during this meeting, if you have a question, you can do what Riley did and just post a question in the chat area. So at the bottom, there should be a thing where it says chat. And you can post and then if you want to raise your hand, there's also a thing where you can press to raise your hand. I'm not sure which one it is. It might be reactions. No, not reactions. Yeah, reactions. Or you could just physically raise your hands. So that way we can call on you that way. Okay, so we got Mira, admit. Okay. I don't know if my cats will be joining us or not, because sometimes they'll walk around and pop over and stuff and say hi on the couch because this is my couch. I don't know if you can say that's my cat. Um, but sometimes they do, and I'm like, okay, you guys are joining the meeting. Okay. All right. So yeah, you know what? It's 11:11, so let's go ahead and get started. And I'm
Make a
just
wish. Make a wish. Make a wish.
make a wish. I wish
Yeah.
that do I have to say what it is or I don't have to
No,
say?
you can keep it inside.
Okay. Okay, got it. Okay. I've never heard of that before. That's great. All right. So I'm really excited to have this guest speaker today because I actually had been following him for a while. Just came across his YouTube video and just was so excited about it. And the one YouTube video that really caught my attention was when a guy named Ryan sang for him, and he is on the autistic spectrum, and there was more backstory to it. And so after I saw that one, I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta have this guy as our guest speaker. And this is also a mass media communications class. And so I've never had I have never had an influencer as a guest speaker. I've had, journalists, I've had news anchors, I've had advocates, I've had everything, but I've never had an influencer. And um, I'm just really excited. So yeah, so I just want to welcome to our classroom, Reggie. I guess your name or your nickname or something is Guitaro 5000. So Reggie's going to talk to us today about how he got started and what he does and what his message is. And for about 20 minutes or so, he's got a timer going on. And after that, we'll do a Q&A. And so you guys all should have questions for him ready. And just raise your hand either by physically or by on electronically on here on the screen. And we'll try to get to everybody's questions. So welcome, Reggie. Welcome to my classroom.
Professor Early, thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So, what does it take to achieve a lifelong dream? For me, the answer would have to be something that doesn't kill me. Then it'd really be a lifelong dream, right? Because it took your entire life to actually do it when you're dead. But really, not just that it didn't kill me, but something where the dream and the path to the dream fulfilled is, I would say, something where the dream and the path to the lifelong dream fulfilled is something that gives me life. And I would say that over the past however many years, that's exactly what happened. So when YouTube just came out in 2006, I was obsessed with it. And that was back then when there was like videos would take forever to load. You'd have to go to the bathroom and have some food and come back and you could watch a video. Kind of like that. But what 2 years into it, I released my first video, and from then on, I wanted to have a channel that has 1 million subscribers. So I continued to post and post and post. Meanwhile, I was a subway performer. That was my main income at the time, playing guitar in the subway. I went to school and lived in New Jersey. And through a series of events, I eventually was able to become a professional musician, still with that lifelong dream of having 1 million subscribers. It took some figuring out, but eventually I had my 1 millionth subscriber, and a whole lot has happened between the time I started and last year when I actually got 1 million subscribers. I would say the most subscribers I've had came from the past year and a half.
Oh,
So
wow.
more came in the year and a half, more came in the last year and a half than all previous years of being on YouTube. So
Wow.
what did that? Like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
So now I get to tell you the story of how this lifelong dream gave me life and didn't kill me.
Okay.
Great, great. So, but first, I would like to. So I like to know because I know you teach at 3 colleges, right? Miss.
Two right now.
Okay, two.
Um,
Okay, great, great. So which college is this?
this is Diablo Valley College and
Yeah.
San Ramon campus, which is part of the same district, but separate. And it's mass media communication.
Mass media communications. Awesome. Well, we're gonna learn a whole lot about media today for sure. Yeah, we got Kevin in the house, Lucinda. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right.
Lucinda,
Sky. Was that Lucinda?
Lucinda, yeah.
Okay, Lucinda. Hey, what's up? What's up? Nor, Emily, Colin, Darian, Brenda, Nate, Caleb, Maria, Mira, Christopher, and that's all who want to be seen on YouTube. So we'll stop there. Yeah, cool. So let's see, where do I start? Well, my first interest in music, I'm just curious if anyone here is like loves music. I love music. I love music for sure.
Yes.
Great. So hold on a second. Let me go ahead and look. Okay, great. We got 25 people here. So I would imagine at least 24 of them love music. Great. So if you could also Professor Early, if you could mute, since I'm doing like a separate recording as well, so I could kind of mix the audio later. Yeah, and then after I'm done with this story, I would love to hear all your questions. Yeah, yeah. So love music, little kid in New Jersey. I would say middle school is when I really fell in love with music. The thing is, I was going through a really hard breakup at the time, and I just happened to find some really sad love songs, breakup songs, and I never understood those songs until that time I got my heart broken. Then it's like music is not just something you hear, you just kind of jiggle to. It's something that can really speak to your soul and and express how you feel in ways that you couldn't express yourself. So I was like, okay, 13 years old, heartbroken. I love music. Maybe I'll make that a career. But for now, let's just do the first step, learn how to play an instrument. So I got myself into a music class where unfortunately there was no guitar available, to at least not by the school. But the teacher agreed to teach me how to play guitar on the condition that I'd never get a scratch on it. So unfortunately, I got a scratch on it, and not only a scratch, I was attacked by some random person on the street, and the guitar was like not shattered, but it was pretty badly, badly injured. The guitar itself, I actually turned out to be fine. I was pretty resilient, but I brought back the guitar to the owner, and instead of screaming at me, he actually fixed it. Only thing is, my teacher said, you cannot take the guitar back home after this, unfortunately, but you can play it in school. So that's kind of the first time in my life where I felt like someone was really spurring me on for my own musical self-expression. That was the first gift that I was given, to say, I want you to do music, therefore I will let you use my own personal guitar, even at the risk of you breaking it. He didn't have to do that, but he did. So from then on, I started playing and playing more, just like learning different songs. And then it came to the time where high school was ending and it was time to choose a career. Many of us in this room are not too far from that time. It can be very stressful. So my parents told me, well, pick anything you want, but it better not be music, because you're not going to do so well in that. So at that point, I realized I also really like computers. So I tried to I signed up for a school that taught me how to be a computer technician. So I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do that. That sounds safe. At least at the time it did. So that said, I got some very good advice from someone who said, honestly, whatever it is you want to do in life, if you became a nurse right now, as soon as possible, you'll make enough money to finance whatever it is you want to do. So whatever you're trying to do right now, just stop and be a nurse, and you'll make $50 an hour, and you can achieve anything you want after that. So I'm like, okay, that sounds good enough. So changed over to nursing. And the problem is I didn't qualify for much financial aid at all. So, and I didn't have any money of my own. So I'm like, well, there's got to be some way I can make some money while I'm going to school. And I thought, why not just take the guitar I've been learning for the past 4 years, take it to the New York City subway and start playing. That sounded like a good plan. Only problem is on my first day, I was so nervous. I just stood there like, and I have a guitar in my hand. I have a guitar in my hand. Everyone's expecting me to play, but I just couldn't get it out. So I came back the next day just saying, I got to make this work, because I love music. I got to express myself. And what I did was just make sure that all the money I had was what I needed to get to New York City from New Jersey, which was like $7 at the time, and no money after that. If I wanted to get back home, I had to play my way out. And at first, it was still very difficult, but eventually, I started getting hungry. It's like, well, no one gives you free food in New York, so you better play something. So I started playing, and the first dollar came in. Then the second dollar came in, and the third dollar came in. And by the end of the day, I actually made like $30. I was overjoyed, overjoyed. I was like, wow, you can make money playing music. So that became my new routine. Go to the subway every day, right after school, or maybe even before school, and then pay my tuition in big stack of $100 bills. Big stack of $1 bills. That's how I pay my tuition. So one thing led to another, and I started to play some gigs and stuff like that. And at some point, I just realized that I was kind of going on a hamster wheel. At that point, I would say maybe 3 years into college, I realized I was probably not going to be a good nurse. And the reason why I knew I was going to be a good nurse is because I was a really bad waiter, like the worst waiter you could possibly think of. I forgot orders. I was slow. I was late. It just like my heart wasn't into serving, but I was really into people. That's what I really like. I like being with people. All the customers said, "Oh, he's such a nice guy. Not a good server, but he's a great guy. Very friendly. Very. He takes care of us, but he just keeps forgetting our order. That's the problem. We order dessert and we get an entree. Like, okay, well, maybe nursing is not going to be for me, but I know that part of why I wanted to be a nurse too, which I didn't talk about, is I just wanted to give people a healing experience. And I realized that through all the people that I was for all the people that I was playing guitar for in the subway, every now and then someone who looks like they're having a bad day, by the end of the song, they start to look like they're having a better day. I see them smile. And especially during these times when I would ask people to participate, I would say, all right, guys, this chorus is coming up. I want to hear you sing it. 1, 2, 3. And a few people would just be like, oh, no. They would kind of sing along with me. So I had the idea, like, why not, if people are experiencing such joy and happiness singing, why not have them sing beside me? So every now and then I'd ask someone, hey, anyone want to sing this next one? And of course, most people would be like, no, no, no. But every now and then, someone would say, yeah, I actually do want to sing. I have an experience of someone who I knew actually in the subway. She said playing in the subway was like her lifelong dream. She always wanted to do it, but she was always too scared. So I'm like, well, why don't you just sing with me? Like, I'll play, you sing. And she's like, okay, we'll do it. So I started playing, and first she was just like really, scrunched up like this. And then by the end of the song, she opened up to the point where she had so much dexterity, she even pulled out her phone and started recording it. And then after she sang the song, I was like, just curious, like, how was it for you? She was like, oh my God, I feel so good. I can't believe I did it. Thank you. She gave me a huge hug. And I was like, wow, well, I'm really proud of you. And I was also proud of myself too, because I gave her that experience, and she was way older than me, but she was always too afraid to do it. And she did it. So I was like, this seems like a whole lot of fun. Fast forward to the point where I had already been on YouTube at that point for like 10 years already. I released some videos. Some of them did okay. Most of them didn't do that good. And I was just like, something's got to give. Like, there's got to be some idea I can have other than just playing my favorite songs on YouTube, where when I actually post it, it has an impact on people. So I was like, why not record myself asking people to sing? And all that I had at my disposal to do that was just my cell phone, Galaxy S7, 2018. Like, that was a cutting edge phone at the time. Well, actually, no, that was a cutting edge phone 2 years before that, but I still had the Galaxy S7. So I asked my cousin, "Can you hold this and just press record? I'm gonna do something crazy." And he's like, "What are you gonna do?" It's like, just watch, just watch. So we go inside the subway train, and I'm like, "Okay, press record." And he's like, "Okay, boop." And I was like, "Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you guys a question. Will you sing with me? I know it's going to make you very happy, even though you might be a little bit embarrassed or ashamed, or you're not sure, maybe a little nervous. But I'm telling you, if you sing with me, you're going to feel amazing." So, and like, nobody responded. They were just like, "Who's this guy?" So I was like, "All right, well, I'm going to have to start asking individuals, 'Sir, will you sing a song with me?'" And then I went from one person to one person to one person to one person, and I finally said, "You know what?" Someone said, "You know what? I will sing with you. Let's do it." So we're playing and he's singing, and everyone's just like, "Ooh, like this is actually happening." It was happening. And by the end of the song, I just happened to ask him, "Now that you've sung, like, how do you feel?" He's like, "No, no, actually, no, I didn't ask him that." At the end of the song, I was like, "Thank you, man, for singing. I appreciate it." He was like, "I feel amazing. I feel great." I was like, "Really? Say it louder. Tell everybody." He's like, "Yeah, I feel great." I'm like, "That's good. That's good. That's good. Hopefully, someone else will do it." And yes, other people did it. Eventually, I got the idea to ask people, "Now that you've sung, how do you feel?" And I noticed that every time I asked that question, they had positive things to say. I was nervous at first, but now I feel better. I feel confident. I feel happy. And I was like, I think I'm doing something good. I think I'm doing something good here. So it was time to bring the video home, to edit it, and to post it. I edited and posted it the same night. And I was like, there's no way this is not gonna go viral. There's no way this is a viral video right here. So I put it up, went to sleep, I woke up, and I came back to my computer so I can see my millions of views. But it was more like 130 views. So I was like, maybe give it another day or two, huh? So came back the next day, a couple hundred more views. Came back the next day, a couple hundred more. Which at the time I've been on YouTube for 10 years, so that's good if you're just starting out. But for a 10-year YouTuber, that's not so good. I was just like, oh man, this is if this doesn't work, I don't know what will. But I did take some time to read the comments. And the comments were comments that I've never seen on any video prior. They were saying stuff like, "Oh my goodness, like I loved watching it. This gives me life. I feel so much happier and so much better. And I feel like I'm more connected to people. I feel more loved and I feel more loving." They were saying these paragraphs and stuff, these 12 or 15 people. And I was like, wow, that's 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 pretty cool that they feel that way. So at the very least, if as many people as I thought were watching this, at the very least, the people who are watching it seem to be really enjoying it. So I thought to just keep recording more and posting more, editing, recording, posting. Every other month or so, I would release another one, but the views just were not there. I thought to buy a new camera. I thought to get a new editor. I thought to get two cameras and do all this stuff. And I thought to add audio, like professional audio. It just wasn't really moving. So in 2019 is when I was like, all right, I'll still do this. I'll still record it, but I won't post anymore because nobody cares. At least not enough people to make it worth it. But I'll still do it because I like doing it. So that I continued to do. I was recording and doing it, like asking people to sing, but just wasn't posting until June 2020. That's when everything changed. June 2020 is with like 3 or 4 months into the pandemic. People were locked in and they had nothing to do. And guess who they found on YouTube? Me. So that's right. That's right. My videos started to get some views. One in particular went viral. It hit like a million. It was getting like a million views every day and a half or so. I was just shocked. I was like, this is insane. Like people are actually watching this. And the other thing that happened is that they were watching the videos and then they were asking for more. So in my head, I'm thinking, I would love to give you more, but it's kind of like a pandemic outside. I can't go up and ask people to sing right now, at least not right now. So I went into the archive of older videos that I recorded and but never posted. So now I started editing them and putting them up. And one by one, they were all kind of going viral. They were all doing very well in views until I ran out. No more videos. That was it. So October 2020 is when I made the decision. I said, I will go out with my mask and my alcohol spray, and I'll ask people to sing. But I'll keep a safe distance in case they don't want me approaching. I'll try to ask them from 6 feet away, as they say. And if they're cool with it, we'll come together and we'll do it. And so that's how I did the videos for the next 4 or 5 months or so. And then eventually I just realized there were enough people who didn't need me to wear a mask or use alcohol spray that I just stopped doing that part and I just kept on going. And little by little, the subscriber count went up, the views were going up. Eventually, I got an editing team And the only thing I was afraid of at this time was that, like, what if the world opens up? Like, what if the world opens up? Well, I definitely wanted the world to open up for sure. But what if the world opens up and then like all the people that were watching my videos stop watching because they have something else better to do? That's what I was afraid of. But once 2022, the end of 2022 came, the world was pretty much open and people still kept watching. So now this is my full-time thing. All I do is I go on the street, ask people to sing, and then we go home and we edit it. We also travel to many different cities. We've done many different cities in the US and in other countries as well. So what I would say is that I'm having a whole lot of a great time having this. I'm having a really good time doing this. It's not stressing me out too much, and I can definitely say for sure that achieving that lifelong dream of 1 million subscribers that we achieved last year didn't kill me. It's actually a dream that gave me life, and that's why I'm very happy to do this. And I would love to answer your questions today.
Hey, so that is awesome. I just enjoyed listening to that story. I learned new things about you, um, based on the stalking stuff that I'd done prior and trying to find more information on you. Okay, students, I have a bunch of questions, but I want you to ask yours first. So, before we get to yours though, one of the students had to pop out, had to bounce, wasn't feeling good. And so she gave me her three questions. So I'll give you one of hers.
Yeah.
She asked, what musicians inspire you?
What musicians inspire me? Let's see here. These days, I can't say anyone in particular. The first people to really inspire me to play music were other guitar players like John Mayer and Stevie Ray Vaughan, and yeah, that's really it actually. And I would say I'm most inspired overall by Michael Jackson because I feel like Michael Jackson is a person that went above and beyond,
Yeah.
and I mean he became international superstar for his entire life, basically
Wow.
after while he was still in while he was still in elementary school, he became an international superstar until the day he died. So he inspired me a lot. And I remember that time. I remember the time that he died too. It was a very strange experience for me to know that, like it seems like someone he would live forever. So the funny thing is that in the time that the world was mourning his death, not only was I, but at the same time, I took to performing more of his music. And so in the subway, I was like, I was thinking that this is a great time to play his music. And that kind of became my act. That kind of became my act actually for a while. For like a year, I was the guy who played Michael Jackson on the guitar and I was always saying like all the time. And that was kind of my thing. So I would say Michael Jackson inspired me the most out of every other artist.
Nice. Nice. Okay, so Caleb, you have a question. You want to ask him your question? You got to unmute yourself when
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Is all okay. Do you think your Sing With Me idea will continue? And what is your next like evolution past this like your best idea?
Good question. Good question. Will it continue? Definitely will continue. Definitely till tomorrow, maybe the next day, and and probably for a while after that. I would say that that's a really good question about what's the next thing.
Hmm.
Part of so in my last video, you'd see that there's no part of the video where I ask random people to sing. Instead, you see two guests who have sung already, and I interview them because they have a very common thread between them. They both moved to Mexico from the US voluntarily. And even though they didn't have many opportunities in the beginning, they kind of both made their way and created a whole life for themselves in Mexico.
Hmm.
So now those are people that I did ask to sing off the street, completely random people. But that video doesn't show that. It shows their origin stories and how they got where they are. And the next thing that I'm working on is kind of in line with that, which is showing a more depth behind people's stories, the people that I meet. Instead of just the conversation I had with them right before they sing, I have a deeper conversation with them about their own story. So it's kind of a mixture between Sing With Me and Anthony Bourdain and like documentaries, basically. I'm not sure what to call it yet, but it's still under the Sing With Me umbrella, just not traditional Sing With Me as you've seen it before. It's something different, something more expansive and has more depth to it.
So Reggie, you can you see the hands up? I'd like you to call on
Sure.
whichever one you want to call on.
Awesome. Let me just choose a random person. No, Brenda, I'd love to take your question.
Hi, Reggie. What was the weirdest interaction you've had while making your YouTube videos on the streets?
Weirdest interaction I had. Let's see here. Well, I would say that the interactions vary widely. So you have millionaires, you have homeless people, you have happy people, you have sad people, people of every kind of profession. So I'm pretty much ready for everyone. It's hard to say which is weird because my whole work is to make sure they don't feel weird. Like I kind of take them where they are. So I try to be accepting of everyone. I would probably say there I would probably say if they came maliciously, then that's kind of where I draw the line. So there was one guy who at the time I was doing a seated Sing With Me, which I rarely do these days, but we were sitting down and this guy came in a mask. I had a mask too at the time, but he just came in a mask and I couldn't see who he was. So he was like, "Can I play?" And I was like, "Yeah, you can play my guitar, but you got to sit down." He's like, "No, I'm not sitting down. I want to play." I'm like, "Well, you can sit down first." He's like, "Just give it to me." And I'm like, "No." So he started yelling at me saying he has a bunch of guitars. He has way more guitars than I do. And he has more money and everything and blah, blah. And then he just started running away. I was like, that was kind of weird. So
that's like he might
that
have
was probably
said.
that was probably one of the weirdest. Hope that answers your question. Darian?
Hey Reggie, what is your favorite and most fun experience when someone approached you to do a song?
Favorite and most fun experience. So many of them because they're fun for different reasons. Let's see here. I'll probably mention one of them because of just like I'll mention one of them because of how much it turned everything around. I was in Sarasota, Florida, which is now that I've been there, I realize it's kind of a place for retirees mostly. So I thought they would be happy to sing. And I would say that my experience is that most of them were saying no, they don't want to sing, they don't want to do it. And I could give you a number of reasons why they would say that. I have my theories, but we were there for like 6 hours, and in hour number 6, I was pretty much ready to pack up. I was like, this is just not working. Like, let's just go home. Mind you, I spent like lots of money to get there. And I didn't like money that I didn't have. Like I was going in the red to actually get there, but it just didn't work out. Until my producer said, "Hey, just take one more person, just one more." So I'm like, "Okay, fine." So this guy came up and he said, "No, I'm not singing," and he walked away. But he actually changed his mind and came back. He actually not only changed his mind and come back, but he did an original song. So I learned his original song and he's singing in front of his 2 friends. It was a pretty cool song. We edited it. It didn't take too long actually, and then we put it up. And actually, that video became the most popular video on my entire channel for a few years actually. So it was fun in the moment, but it was more fun because of how it happened. Yeah, we were pretty hopeless at that time, but just taking that one guess like just changed everything for us. So yeah, it got like I think now it's like at 10 million views or something like that.
Wow.
So is it Noor?
Yeah, it's Noor.
Noor. Okay, great.
So have you ever met someone that you like still keep in contact with and like became buddies?
Yes, actually. Yes. The guy who made the most popular video on the entire channel ever. So it's not the one I just talked about, it's somebody else. That video is at now like 16 million views. His name is Greg. And yeah, we still keep in touch. He comes over to New York. I go over to Colorado. We actually did some construction on my new studio, my editing studio together. And we did film singing videos together, but it's just a matter of trying to get the right story behind it because people have been asking for a follow-up video for years and we haven't done it yet, but we still keep in touch. So that's one of them, but there are a few others too. So yeah, including a couple of interactions that turned into dates, which was interesting.
That's
Yeah,
great.
and some of this that just turned into really good friends, people that we keep in touch with. But it's very funny how the most requested return guest is someone who I talk to on a fairly regular basis, but we have never done a video again together, at least not one that's published. So we'll look out for that in the month of April.
Reggie, could you email me a couple links to some of your most popular ones, and then I can give that to all the students?
Sure. So you can easily see the popular ones by going to the channel
Okay.
and clicking on videos. And then there should be three little options under that. It will say oldest, newest, and popular. Just click on popular.
Okay.
Those will come up.
Perfect.
Yeah. Do you see it?
I'm not looking at it now, but I will.
Okay.
But yeah, so we got more questions to handle.
Cool. Great. All right, Michael.
If music didn't exist at all, like what do you see yourself doing? Or is that like something you can't even imagine?
Hmm.
Philosophical. I love it. If music didn't exist at all, like no one had music in the whole world, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like it just didn't exist.
Okay, that's a good question. Hmm. I'm not sure if I would walk upright. I think there's something about music that has caused humanity to develop. So either I would be a hunter-gatherer, or maybe we all still be hunter-gatherers actually. So I'd be out there foraging for food and digging up for bugs and stuff. That's definitely what I do. All right, Nate.
Hi, Reggie.
Hey.
My question is, if you could give yourself or someone else advice when you were like a kid, what would the advice be?
Good question. The advice that I would give someone if they're a kid. I would tell them, don't do music because it's dangerous and it's not going to work out for you. And probably that would be the exact thing they would need to spur them on to actually doing it. No, for real advice, actual advice that I expect them to take. Let's see here. I would just say find a way to be authentically yourself. Whether or not you monetize it. Even if you feel like you have to pretend for this person or that person or for your job or whatever, just find space in your life where you could really do what it is you want to do. As long as it doesn't hurt anyone, find space for you to do that. And I would probably say, I wouldn't even think that most kids are being authentic, but probably when you become 2 years old, you learn how to behave. And so I would say give yourself some time to do something that you're not doing because you're behaving. Just do it because you want to do it. That's what I'd say. Finnegan.
Can you hear me? Is it sounding? Hello?
We can hear you.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you mentioned that you've performed in a lot of cities. Are there ones that you haven't performed in that you really want to?
Ooh.
Good question. Yes. Pretty much all of them. Well, let's see. A specific one that I actually thought of. I would say basically every major city on the planet, every major city. So Shanghai, Hong Kong, Cape Town, Budapest, Montreal, which I'm going to do next. When are we doing Montreal? Next in the summertime, I'm doing Montreal, so that's good. I did New Orleans actually, so I wouldn't actually call these performances though. So that's where there's a slight misnomer. I will call them public singing opportunities. So when I did do gigs and stuff and concerts and bars and restaurants and stuff like that, I would call that performance. And I haven't done a whole lot of it outside of New Jersey, except for on cruise ships. I did cruise ships for like 2 years. So that's actually where I got much of my song learning from. People ask me, how did you learn all those songs?
Yeah.
Well, the thing about cruise ships is that you actually wind up cruising with the same people for a week. And on my first day, I was afraid I would run out of songs. And on my second day, I did. So I was spending all my time practicing. And that's how I learned hundreds and hundreds and thousands of songs. So, and that cruise ship went to like throughout the Caribbean. So as far as performing, I guess I performed across the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean as well. So
Nice.
Christopher.
If I mean, hello Reggie, sorry. If you didn't have an album, or if you do have an album, do you currently have an album out right now?
No, are you a producer?
No. But if you do you plan to release an album anytime soon?
Let's see here. Not anytime soon, but I will definitely be releasing some singles. Yeah. And I do have singles on Spotify. If you look up Guitaro 5000, you'll find me.
Nice.
Are you popular on that too? On the Spotify?
I'm sorry, say it one more time.
Are you popular on Spotify too?
No.
All right.
No, I haven't been pushing it. This has kind of taken over. And that's kind of, I would say that's partially the switch that happened. I just realized I had a lot more fun giving people an opportunity to shine. And yes, I could be still writing music and performing and doing my own shows, but when I was doing that, when I was doing my own shows and writing and performing my own music, it was more about attracting more attention to myself and trying to be like a rock star, which is not bad. I could still pursue it, but I became more in love with what I'm doing now. So new music coming, and I would find a way to create music that emphasizes those values of just supporting people's self-expression and helping them to feel heard and to actually express themselves.
Nice.
Yeah. Kevin.
Well, Reggie, I just have a question. You mentioned earlier in your story that when you first started doing it, that you were scared, and singing on the street is to a lot of people scary. How did you was there any strategies you used to overcome that fear?
I would just say the strategy of necessity, like no way out. When I said that I came with just enough money to get there, I was serious. I didn't have any way to get back to get out of it. So obviously that's not an applicable situation for everybody. And I'd say that breathing has a lot to do with, but I would say breathing can help a lot with those nerves, because when you feel nervous and you feel anxious, there's a certain amount of awareness that you have with certain sensations in your body and not necessarily others. If you just kind of reconfigure yourself from feeling your nervousness and your tension to just feeling your breath, it kind of rediverts your attention into something that is inherently relaxing, which is just breathing. You breathe in deep, breathe out. And the more you focus on just your breathing, the more relaxed you feel. And that's something that can be very useful anytime, especially when you're about to give a talk to all the beautiful people of this school. So I used that earlier.
Nice.
All right, Victor.
Hey Reggie, I was wondering which city has been your favorite place to perform in and why?
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I have put on singing opportunities in at least 20 cities. Probably my favorite was, I guess the first one that comes to mind, other than New York, because New York is the most popular one. Actually, New York is my favorite one, but my second favorite was Miami,
Mm.
just because of the fun factor of it. And it was not an easy place to actually do it because Miami is a lot more strict with permits and stuff like that. So we wound up getting kicked out. And there's also a sprinkler that came on without warning. So even that one day that we were able to do it, all of our stuff got extremely wet. Fortunately, most of it survived because the thing about Miami is that the sun gets really hot. So the next day we put everything else outside and put it in the sun and it all dried up. So it worked out. Yeah. Okay, Jimmy.
Hi, Reggie. I wanted to see what's your biggest challenge with YouTube currently? Because I imagine like working with music and what have you. Have you ever, been the subject of a DMCA strike or something like that?
So far, no DMCA strikes, though there is the potential to get your video demonetized because of the song you're playing. So for me, that was the case with actually all my videos up until a certain point when I got some copyright clearance. It's not that we were demonetized completely because of the songs. It was like a half or 80% demonetization. That was the case for years until recently. We worked something out with an agency that allows us to receive a little bit more. So that worked out. But other than that, biggest challenge with YouTube, it's not with YouTube itself. It's just being a creator, being a content creator, keeping consistency and quality at the same time. I would say that's the biggest challenge.
Mm.
And part of how we achieve quality and consistency is really good teamwork. We got a staff of 5 to 7 editors, depending on when you ask, and a management team, and they're all really great. So finding time to come together and agree on a certain path and achieving it can be challenging at times, but we always do. Sky.
Hi, Reggie. My question is, when you were a child, did you see yourself getting to where you are today? And would you ever change that?
Good question. When I was a child, YouTube did not exist. So no. If you wanted to play music, you had to do a tour or get a record deal. That was it. Like even when I was in high school, everyone was trying to get a record deal. That was the whole thing that they did. And yeah, the world has changed so much. You could just create a loyal audience with just your cell phone. I couldn't have imagined that could even happen when I was a kid. Like that wasn't nowhere in my consideration. So I would say most of you have grown up at a time where, for as long as you can remember, that was possible. It wasn't possible when I was a kid. So I hope that answers your question. Did I answer your question?
I mean, yeah, you kind of answered it. But would you ever change, I guess, where you are now? It's like the second part to my question.
Would I ever change it? Meaning, like, now that I know that it exists, or do you think? Are you asking me like, what did I want to be when I was a kid? Is that what you wanna know?
Like more of like, are you fully happy with what you do now? And would you ever consider yourself maybe doing something else, or do you just love what you do?
I definitely love what I do, and I'm open to the next step. But I don't see myself slowing down now. I would say that right now I'm in a mode where I want to put a little more time into personal pursuits that are not tied to the whole content creation image. And I'm looking into being a foreigner in a foreign country where I don't speak the language, just to have that challenge of learning the language, but also really sympathizing with people who are in situations where they feel isolated or highly challenged. Like I wanted to really like get their experience. So sometime this year I'll be going to one of those countries and doing that. But as far as career and artistic expression, I definitely think I'm on a roll right now, and I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. Yeah. Did that answer your question? Okay, thanks, Sky. I appreciate your question. Thank you. Jules, I'd love to answer your question next.
Hi, Reggie. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So my question is there a particular song that you hope somebody one day asks you to play?
Sorry, so you said, is there a particular song that what?
That you like to play or that's you hope one day somebody asks you to play?
Yes, yes. I would say, well, not one particular one. There's a few of them. Yeah. One of them is probably Black or White by Michael Jackson. That's my favorite song to play ever. And also I do a very good, well, basically anything from Soulja Boy. I can play almost any Soulja Boy song, but no one ever asked for that.
Oh, that's funny. That's good. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks for your question. Esteban.
Hello, Reggie. So at what age did you get into the music scene? Like, were you more of like a kid or were you like a teenager in like high school?
The music scene depends which music scene. So in the
Like,
subway music scene, I was 21. No, I was 20 actually. And then I started playing bars when I was 24. And then when I turned 27, I think, I started playing at cruise ships. Yeah. So all three very different scenes. Now, as far as like the original music scene, I never quite cracked that scene very much. I did open up for some notable musicians, play my own music, but I never really got a lot of momentum there. Just curious, did that answer your question?
yeah, and also like more of like when did you start like playing the guitar, I guess?
Oh, okay. I was 14.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
First guitar chord I ever strummed was 14, and it hurt like crazy, but I kept playing because I wanted to play it. I'm like, and my teacher told me, "You'll develop calluses. You'll be fine. It's not the end of the world. You'll be okay." So I wanted him to tell me, "Oh, you have this incredible disease that makes it hard to play guitar," but no, he said, "Nope, you're fine. Everyone goes through this." I'm like, "They really do?" Like, yes, they do. All right, I'm good. Great.
Thank you.
Colin, I'd love to take your question.
Reggie. My question is, I can't imagine that you get too much negative feedback, but if you have or when you do, how do you handle it?
Good question. You can't imagine I would get much negative feedback. You'd be surprised. It is YouTube after all. It's not well, even on other platforms, you can get negative feedback. I think it became more popular to give negative feedback on YouTube than other platforms because of the anonymity. You didn't have to share your name or your picture. You could say whatever you want. But now things have changed. Even on Instagram, where you have all your pictures and your family pictures, on Facebook, where you have all your pictures, your family pictures, people are still negative and confrontational and argumentative. Whereas I couldn't have imagined that would ever be the case, but that is what happened. So let's see. Negative comments I get on YouTube. Your videos are fake. This is all planned, and you're a liar. People say that. Yep. Racist things sometimes, which I always actually heart them and I make sure they're public. Some things about the singer, like just insults, and like whether it's their religion or their race or their sex or their like whatever's wrong with them, they would say things about them, and I would always make sure those comments are not visible because I stop it at insulting the guest. Don't insult my guests. Insult me all you want. I'll make sure it's public so everyone can see. I don't want to hide your comments or delete them. So that's how I handle it. That said, how do I handle it emotionally? It's not easy to not let it affect me. It's not easy. When people started first accusing me of faking the videos, I was incredibly hurt. And it sounds so ridiculous when I say it, but I was spending a lot of time responding to these people and convincing them otherwise. And it's so funny because as humans, we're not necessarily evolved to get feedback from so many people. Even people who tour and have an audience of like 5,000 people. That's not normal for a human to ever experience. So that's why a lot of them have ways that they cope with it, like whether it's therapy or drugs or anything. Like it's not easy, especially when even just one out of those thousands of people says something bad about you. It's like you think that because you have so much positive feedback that bad thing won't affect you, but it does because we're just not used to that. Like the actual criticism you might get from someone in a regular normal life is from someone that has actually met you and you have an opportunity to respond. But online, or even worse, if you're a celebrity and someone's writing articles about you, it's not the same. Like you don't even have that chance to actually get a reaction from them, even if you did respond. So it's very unnatural, very not normal. So I would say that for me, it's just taking some time to notice that just because I'm getting a little worked up about someone's negative comment, just remember that it's just someone who just wanted to say what they said, and they have every right to say what they said. And I'm okay with the fact that they have that right, and I will protect their right to say what they have to say, and I'm fine with it. So that's how I approach that. Just curious if that like made sense.
It did.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Great. Thanks for your question. I appreciate it. Matt, you're next.
Awesome. Hey, how's it going? I was just
Hello.
wondering if there are any particular instruments that you don't know how to play yet, but are still interested in learning.
Probably drums. And I
Yes.
could probably get some drums down, but it wouldn't be it wouldn't be very good. So it's funny because I spend most of my time not playing. Like I don't play every day like I used to. It's funny because I would say probably most content creators who are not playing on camera all the time, they're probably not playing every day. People think I'm playing all the time because they see me doing that. But most of the time is spent editing and having meetings. So if I were to play any instrument, it should probably be the one that I am known for so I can keep getting better at it. So right now, I don't have plans to learn to play another instrument. Maybe sometime in the future, especially if I have like a big house where no one cares to hear drums, I'll start playing drums.
Fair.
Before you get to the next question, I noticed on your guitar you have, it looks like the lid of like a can that's clipped onto your guitar. Is that to protect the guitar when you're hitting it, or what is that for?
Good question. Yes and no. So I actually picked up a guitar technique where you do percussion while you're playing. But the problem is, even though it sounded good and I loved playing it that way, it was wearing a hole in the guitar. So I found I was experimenting with different things to protect it, including a CVS card and like a half of a CD. I'd break it off and try to put it on there. And they all work to protect it, but the problem is they made the percussion sound not as loud. So I sought something that made it sound better, or at least not worse. And it happened to be the top of a sardine can lid. And that, when you hit it, it sounds more like a snare. So since I discovered that, I haven't turned back. And by the way, I got some strong interest from some companies who were trying to make like a professional sounding drum trigger. And they did it sounded very professional, like a real drum, like for real. Like you hook it up to a speaker, you hit it, it sounds like a real drum. But there's something very authentic and very rustic and very just homegrown about the sardine can. So
I love
that
it.
just became my thing. I just haven't changed it out for anything.
That's great.
Awesome. Thanks for that question. Emily, I'd love to take your question next.
Hi, so my question was, has there been anybody to reach out to you about a singer or even you offering you an opportunity outside of YouTube?
Yes. Imagine this. Imagine you're a content creator, you're putting videos up on YouTube, and people reach out. So someone reaches out to like give you an opportunity for like a TV show. And every time that happens, there's something about what they want to do on TV that just doesn't resonate with you. So that's kind of what happened to me. They kind of wanted me to stage some interaction with a previous singer and like set them up or something, and I just wasn't into it. But I did give them the contact information of the singer, though. The singer did give me their contact information and actually didn't mind if it was public. So I gave that information over. I didn't have to give it over because it was already in the YouTube description. And they were making some kind of TV show where they were fine doing that with somebody else. So I never heard from them again. And the TV show, I don't think ever happened. So yeah. But that said, people do ask, hey, I want to record this album. How do I find that singer? Who knows what happens after that? But their information a lot of the time is public. Most of the time it's not, but if they have like a music YouTube or music Instagram, I will put their info in the description. And so most of the time, if they wanted to find the person, they wouldn't ask me. They would just click on whatever link is there. Yeah. Thanks for that question. Brenda.
Hey again. This question is from our classmate Nira. She says she's being disconnected from the Zoom meeting, so she texted me her question. So she asks, would you say more people have sang with you since you began posting videos? Like, have your videos influenced how many people sing with you?
Good question. Yes, it has influenced how many people sing with me. The turning point came around 2023, mid 2023, when I started to live stream it. So people knew where we were when we were there. So they would come line up and show up and actually do it. By the way, the live stream was extremely complicated to put together. When I say extremely, like not like so extremely, but it was way harder to do it live stream than it was to not live stream it. But from then on, the other thing that happened is that the TikTok page went viral and we got millions of views. So people would come up and say, hey, you're the guy on TikTok, I want to sing a song. But it had the inverse effect as well, because now that people know what it is, sometimes they feel like they have the only way for them to be able to sing with me is if they're good, because most people that we upload are experienced singers. So now they feel like they have to be like that in order to sing. And those people, I try to remind them that this is a public service first. It's not a YouTube channel first or a TikTok channel first. It's a public service first. So I'm here for you. So if you want to sing, I'll play for you. But I need you to come here and sing a song. So some of them just don't believe me because they've seen the videos and that's not what they actually see in the videos. But it really is real. So regardless of whether you believe you are talented or gifted or you'll go viral, if you see me on the street and I'm asking people to sing, you're next. Or please be next. Please be next. Yeah.
Nice.
Great. Thank you for the question. Maria.
Hi, Reggie.
Hey,
I
hey,
just
Maria.
want, I just wanted to ask, what would you tell your fans that want to pursue their dreams but are afraid to do so? Like any advice?
Yes. The advice I would give for people who want to pursue their dreams but are afraid to do so is what is one step you can take, just one step, one small step you can take toward that direction? Because sometimes the fear comes out of, what if I do all this and it doesn't work? Or what if I can't do this huge thing? Well, what can you do? Can you take one element of it and do it on a small scale? Maybe that's not so scary as pursuing the whole big dream. Now, if your dream is to be an astronaut and go to the moon, then I would say there's something about going to the moon that you like. Maybe it's being part of a team that travels to somewhere far away. Maybe you can go somewhere that's not that far and maybe do that instead. So if you're too afraid to be an astronaut, perhaps you can climb a mountaintop. That even rhymes almost. Great. Thank you so much for that question. Jimmy.
Hi again, Reggie. You've mentioned a couple times now about the people that are behind the videos that you make. How'd you form this team, we'll call it?
I formed a team. It started with one person other than myself, who was just as interested and invested in the videos as I was. He would give me feedback, advice, but he'd be like, hey, send me the videos and I'll tell you what I think about it. And the advice always seemed to be pretty solid. Like, I would take that advice. That's good advice. Let me go ahead and implement that. So at the time when I was looking for editors, me talking to professional editors, they were not nearly as helpful, not even close. So yeah, they were just there to get paid, or it was just whatever for them. So I told this person that was giving me advice all the time, can you be my editor? And he says, I don't know how to edit videos. I said, don't worry about that. I'll teach you. The only thing is, though, I need someone full time. So you'll also have to quit your job. It took him a long time. It took him months. But he actually said, I don't like the job that I'm doing right now. So I'm coming to work for you. And so he came into the office with his briefcase and his computer, and I taught him everything I know about editing. And he is the creative director to this day. So it started with him. And eventually we put out more job posts for other people. And yeah, it's a very niche kind of video to make. It might not really seem like it, but it really is a special kind of video. So it's kind of hard to find the right team to actually make it all work easily. But we have a few great people on our team, and we're looking to expand. So if you know anyone who edits or likes this content, reach out to them and tell them to apply.
Nice. I have a question from Ryan, one of the students who doesn't have a microphone. So he wrote in the message comment, he said, have there been any individuals who have sang for you that gained so much traffic from your videos that they were able to launch work in music?
Let's see here. So this is the last question I can take. I actually completely forgot about my next engagement. I was so into this.
Okay.
But I don't know of anyone who actually pursued music and became successful, if that was the question. It's usually those who are already doing it that became more successful. Except for one guy, the guy who actually came back and sang with me in Florida. He's probably the only one that I know of who was not doing anything on a professional music level, who now is. And his Spotify blew up as well. So that's the only one I know. But then again, he was already primed for it. He was writing music and he was putting music out. And it was that moment of a song that he's never actually performed before. He performed it with me. And from then on, he came to have some success in music.
Nice.
Other than that, I don't know anyone else who did. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I just want to thank you for your time and for speaking to my students about content creation and such a huge influence on YouTube and your message of making people feel better, after singing. Any parting words?
I want to say thank you so much for having me. You all can reach out if you have any more questions. guitaro5000@gmail.com. And I look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Have a great rest of your day. And same for you, all of you students too. Thank you. Bye.
Great. Bye.
Bye-bye.